Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and welcome to Quick Tips, the series where every episode I go over a short secret, tip, or strategy with the overall goal of creating a huge collection of tips to help both older and newer players alike. Now lately I've had a few questions that are general things like, if I played the Scout in TF2, who would I like in Overwatch? Or, if I mained the Heavy in TF2, who should I play? So today I'm going to go over what hero matches each class in TF2. Now before I go over each class's matching hero, I want to stress the fact that unlike TF2, you can't simply main heroes in Overwatch. You really want to be able to play multiple heroes, that way you can switch heroes in order to counter the enemy team's lineup. Of course it's fine to start out with a couple heroes, but eventually you want to have a handful of people you can play. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So first off we have the Scout. The Scout has a pretty obvious matchup, and that would be with Tracer. Both the Scout and Tracer excel at getting behind enemy lines and screwing with the enemy team. On top of that, both classes are extremely mobile but also extremely squishy. One of the Scout's main movement options is his double jump, while Tracer has her blink. Both characters can be absolutely disgusting to play up against, but they can also be really hard characters to play. Next we have the rocket firing Soldier. Who else would be better to match him with than the rocket firing Pharah? Both obviously fire rocket launchers and both generally want to be above the enemy team. The Soldier would normally do this by rocket jumping, whereas Pharah has a built-in button to jump in the air. And then on top has the ability to hover in midair for a little while. One thing to note here is that Pharah's rockets need to be sort of more direct hits than the Soldier's do. Next up is the Heavy. The Heavy can be considered a few different heroes, but I personally think he is most likely D.Va. Both D.Va and the Heavy are extremely tanky, and both fire very large minigun-like weapons. The main difference here is that the Heavy's weapon is a lot more accurate than D.Va's at really long ranges. Now you could also compare the Heavy to Bastion, but because of their miniguns, but I think D.Va is a better match. Then we have the Engineer. Now this is one that is pretty obvious. Considering many people first called Overwatch a TF2 clone because of Torbjorn, I would say that's a pretty good match. Both characters can create sentries that can be leveled up. Torbjorn's turret also originally required scrap to upgrade and repair, but now it's completely free. Torbjorn's held gun is a lot better in my opinion than the Engineer's weapons because it can be extremely long range and melt heroes at close combat. Next we have the Pyro. Now the Pyro doesn't really have a perfect match to any of the heroes, but the closest you can get to him, or her, is Mei. Instead of a flamethrower, Mei's primary fire shoots ice, snow stuff. Instead of dishing out damage over time, she uses it to freeze enemies in place. And like the Pyro, you need to be able to sort of use your weapons to combo. As an example, you want to freeze enemies as Mei and then hit them in the head with an icicle. Then we have Demoman. Now this also has a pretty good parallel with one of the Overwatch classes. Junkrat has a grenade launcher just like the demo, but instead of having a sticky bomb launcher, he has both his traps. A lot of the time you would use the demo stickies as traps, possibly waiting for people to walk on them, allowing you to detonate them and get a ton of kills. Junkrat sort of does this with his traps, and instead of sticky jumping, Junkrat can get huge airtime by using his mine. Next up is the Medic. Now Mercy is almost identical to the Medic, but instead of being able to ubercharge people and make them invincible, she can switch between healing her teammates and giving her teammates damage buffs. On top of all that, she can bring her teammates back from the dead, so that's a plus. Up next we have the Sniper. Now the Sniper has two different heroes that match him depending on the way you played the Sniper. If you use the Huntsman a lot, Hanzo is a great match as he has a bow. One thing to note is unlike TF2, you won't be punished by aiming down for too long using the bow. Now if you like just using the normal sniper rifle, then Widowmaker is very obviously for you. She has a sniper rifle, and if she fires it without zooming, it acts a lot like the sniper's SMG. And then we have the Spy. Now to most people's relief, there isn't really a stealth hero in Overwatch, so the next best thing in comparing the Spy to someone is to compare him to Reaper. The reason being is Reaper, a lot of the time you want to teleport behind enemy lines and take out enemies one at a time. And where a Spy would turn invisible after each kill to prepare for a new kill, Reaper's passive makes enemies drop health orbs when they die so he can heal up after each fight, making him great for picking off enemies one at a time. Of course, instead of having an insta-kill knife to backstab with, he has two shotguns, but they can kill almost as fast if you're good enough. And that's it. Unless you want to talk about the secret guard dog class, in which case I'd say Winston's similar because they're both animals. But thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below, and if you want to see more Overwatch content, click the annotation on the screen. And like always, guys, see you next time.